After the success of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, lead actress Shelley Duvall seemed as if she was poised for a long and illustrious career in Hollywood. But her star status started decreasing after her turn in that classic film, leading to the actress officially retiring around the turn of the century. Part of Shelley's reasoning for leaving Hollywood behind was the traumatic experiences she endured while filming The Shining. Join Factsverse as Shelley Duvall reveals why she left Hollywood. Shelley Duvall was born in Fort Worth, Texas on July 7, 1949. She was the first child of a real estate broker and a lawyer. The couple's remaining children were all boys, of which they had 3. When Shelley was 5, her family settled in Houston. Young Shelley always had artistic tendencies, but aspired to be a scientist. When she graduated high school in 1967, she worked at Foley's department store selling cosmetics while attending South Texas Junior College. She majored in nutrition. Shelley has claimed she might have been a microbiologist if she hadn't become an actress. But fate had other plans. Her introduction to show business came when she met director Robert Altman at a party. Robert was shooting on location in Texas and was struck by Shelley's charming presence and unique physical appearance. He convinced her to appear in the film he was making, which was 1970's Brewster McCloud. Shelley's turn in the film was a success, and Robert subsequently cast her in several more of his features, including Thieves Like Us, Nashville, and 3 Women. 1977's Annie Hall saw Shelley take her first role in a feature that wasn't helmed by Robert Altman. Annie Hall was the brainchild of Woody Allen. Woody also starred in it alongside Diane Keaton. Another player in the film was pop singer Paul Simon, whom Shelley began dating after the two met during filming. They dated for about 2 years, ending their relationship in 1978. Shelley's role in Annie Hall further cemented her as a rising star, and it wasn't long before she was cast as the lead in Stanley Kubrick's upcoming adaptation of the hit Stephen King novel The Shining. Due to Stanley's stringent nature, filming of The Shining was a bit more intensive than Shelley was used to. Although Robert Altman was certainly a skilled filmmaker, he was never quite as meticulous as Stanley was. The filming of The Shining led to some of the most notorious examples of Stanley being overbearing on his actors, though Shelley has claimed the director was nothing but kind to her. Still, the amount of work she was forced to do was incredibly demanding, and the work itself required Shelley to immerse herself in negative emotions that caused stress over time. Filming lasted for around a year, with some scenes requiring over 100 takes. Such scenes included the infamous scene where Shelley's character is brandishing a baseball bat at Jack Nicholson. The filming of The Shining was so stressful for Shelley that the actress claimed chunks of her hair were falling out during filming. This is documented in Making The Shining, a short feature filmed by Stanley Kubrick's daughter during The Shining's production. The trauma of filming The Shining could have potentially been worth it if the initial reception of the film was more positive, but it was met with incredibly mixed reviews. Although the film has since become regarded as a legitimate classic ahead of its time, both critics and audiences originally derided it. One of the few critics who enjoyed The Shining at the time of its release was Roger Ebert. Roger was fascinated with the film. In particular, he appreciated Shelley Duvall's performance. Roger's fascination with her performance led him to track her down for an interview, which led to Shelley giving the public its first hint that her experience on the film hadn't been entirely pleasant. Still, Shelley continued working for many years after filming The Shining, including reuniting with Robert Altman for 1980's Popeye. Shelley had been cast in Popeye while filming The Shining. The film was a passion project for Altman, as he'd always been a huge fan of the character. While Robin Williams had been cast in the titular role, Shelley was cast as Olive Oyl. Robert didn't even need to test her for the part. He knew she'd be perfect. Roger went on to further his praises for Shelley in his review of the film, saying Olive Oyl was the role the actress had been born to play. Sadly, the film wasn't much more successful than The Shining had been. Shelley's career never quite recovered from these 2 flops, even though the directors did. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like, and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Throughout the 80s, Shelley Duvall created and produced a children's TV series for Showtime called Fairy Tale Theater. 27 episodes of the show were produced over 6 seasons. Francis Ford Coppola and Tim Burton were among the directors whose talents were tapped for the show. Shelley featured in the intro of each episode and even acted in a few. The show was a success, marking Shelley's first foray into children's television. She went on to work with the Disney Channel, where she met boyfriend Dan Gilroy in 1989. The two are still together today. In 1994, Shelley and Dan were living in LA when the infamous Northridge earthquake struck. It caused extreme damage to their home, and the couple was unsure how they'd pay for it. In the midst of dealing with this situation, Shelley went to Texas to film Steven Soderbergh's The Underneath. There, she got the idea to give up on the reconstruction of their home and move back to Texas. The couple moved to the city of Blanco. 8 years after moving to Texas with Dan, Shelley officially retired from her work as an actress. Her last role was in the 2002 feature Manna from Heaven. In the film, Shelley played a detective. She had begun painting soon after moving to Texas and pursued the hobby further after her retirement. The actress remained relatively elusive after her retirement, up until a now notorious 2016 appearance on Dr. Phil revived the public's interest in the former star. The interview Shelley gave focused on the numerous reasons she decided to retire. Unsurprisingly, she touched upon the incidents she endured while filming The Shining. While these issues were innocent on their own, the troubling nature of the interview came from Shelley's rambling train of thought. She seemed to freely transition into unrelated tangents, and Dr. Phil seemed as if he was exploiting her mental state for views. The interview took a dark turn when Shelley brought up the fact that she was suffering from untreated mental illness, prompting Dr. Phil to extend an offer to help check her into a facility for treatment. Shelley declined. Many of Shelley's fans and former peers were worried about the actress after seeing this appearance, but it has since become clear her appearance during the interview wasn't emblematic of her overall state of being. It seemed as if Shelley is doing much better for herself than that 2016 appearance, and she's made further public appearances to help clear the air about her seemingly unhealthy mental state. Shelley was offered the chance to give an interview to The Hollywood Reporter in an attempt to help clear the damage done by her appearance on Dr. Phil. The ensuing interview painted the actress in a much more positive light. Still, it remains unlikely that the 72-year-old actress would ever be interested in stepping back into the spotlight. Even after all these years, her experience on the set of The Shining still haunts her. Filming of the classic horror movie was said to have required 16-hour days, 6 days a week, and most scenes required Shelley to be screaming and crying as if she were at her wit's end. She was never quite comfortable with giving her all to a film after this traumatic experience. She still holds no grudge against Stanley Kubrick for what he apparently put her through, though she's shared she hasn't watched the film in many years. Now it's time to hear from you. Comment down below to share what your favorite Shelley Duvall role is. And be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.